Laws are in place all across the United States to try to prevent seniors from being taken advantage of by fraudsters and corporations that are looking out for their best interest instead of the seniors. Well, here are two examples recently brought to my attention from clients that did not know what was happening, and they feel they were taken advantage of by corporations here in America. Let me share with you what those things are. First is a thing called seamless conversion. Now, this is currently under review by the Center for Medicaid and Medicare Services since 2016, but yet nothing has changed. Here's what it is. When someone's in Obamacare or an under 65 health insurance plan, if that same company has a Medicare plan, a Medicare Advantage plan, which I've got a whole bunch of background on Medicare Advantage that you should probably see, but if that company both has an under 65 plan and an over 65 Medicare Advantage plan, many times, most of those companies, the big ones, of course with the lobbyists, are able to seamlessly convert somebody when they turn 65 out of the Affordable Care Act plan, for lack of a better term, into their Medicare Advantage plan without their knowledge. Now, they may get a notice in the mail saying, hey, guess what? We're putting you on Red Cross plan number 1 over to Red Cross plan number 2, and congratulations, you now have free Medicare coverage. Well, it's bunk. They don't know the scope of the benefits that they're being offered. They don't know what's missing, particularly with things like cancer treatment, out-of-network coverage, the ability to see doctors outside of a very tiny network. They're not shown these things. They're just seamlessly converted, that's the term, seamless conversion from one plan, a bad plan typically, because when you're 64, until things change, the worst time to be on individual insurance is 64 years old with the highest possible premium, the worst possible deductible, and of course you got to go to the narrowest plans to make anything even affordable. But those people are then taken advantage of, in my opinion, and in theirs, what they've expressed to me, by seamless conversion to put them into a Medicare Advantage plan. And I use that term very, very loosely. The second situation that's still being allowed to happen is people will sign up for a Medicare supplement plan, great coverage. And we recommend Plan G or Plan N right now, as of 2017 going into 2018, best coverage out there. They sign up then for a standalone Part D, as in drug plan, a standalone Part D drug plan with any number of otherwise good companies. That'd be Humana, Coventry, Kaiser, any of the companies that have a Part D standalone plan. But then they get a phone call. And they're allowed to get a phone call to circumvent, to bypass normal Medicare marketing rules, which say, as a typical agent, I cannot call somebody on the phone out of the blue and say, I want you to sign up for my Medicare Advantage plan. It's against the law for Medicare Advantage and for Part D drug plans, which are under the umbrella of Medicare Advantage. So these companies, though, because they have a relationship with you on a Part D standalone drug plan, call you up and say, hey, we've got a no-cost Medicare Advantage plan that'll cost you absolutely nothing. Go ahead and sign up. We can do the voice signature over the phone. Boom, you're signed up. You got all the information. So the way that they're able to skirt the marketing laws which govern Medicare Advantage, and again, the laws in place to prevent seniors from being screwed over by corporations. But if you have a standalone drug plan with a company that also has a Medicare Advantage plan, same thing with the Obamacare plan, Medicare Advantage, if they've got the drug plan and a Medicare Advantage plan, they can call you, and although not seamlessly convert, they can get you to convert to a Medicare Advantage plan by giving you just enough information to let you understand that there's no premium in most cases. Yeah, there's a network. We can work with you on that. And there's some other limitations. We'll send you all the stuff in the mail. Just read the stuff we're going to send you. We'll get you started on that plan for January 1. How's that sound? So instead of paying $20 a month for a Part D drug plan, now it's a miracle. I've got a zero cost, no monthly cost plan that covers drugs too. Oh, and they're going to give me silver sneakers. Whoop-de-freaking-da. But what do you get out of that? Look at your schedule of benefits very, very carefully before you agree to something like that. And you'll find in many cases a $6,700 per year, per calendar year, maximum out of pocket that you have to pay. $6,700. So if you go in the hospital in those plans, they typically have a big daily cost in the hospital, usually $100, $250, $300, $500 per day in the hospital. If you get out of the hospital, then you go back in, guess what? Same thing. If you get cancer and you have to go to chemotherapy, for instance, on most of these plans, you have to pay 20% of the bill. And they'll only pay the 80% of the bill. Remember, original Medicare only pays 80% of the bill. You have to pay 20%. So what good is a Medicare Advantage plan that only pays 80% of the bill? It's just like being on original Medicare, but there's one caveat. With Medicare Advantage, you have to go inside their network in order for them to pay the 80% of the bill. But wait, you're left with 20% of a chemotherapy cost. Do you know what chemotherapy costs nowadays? You could hit that $6,700 maximum out of pocket very quickly by you paying 20% of the cost of chemotherapy on most Medicare Advantage plans. But wait, it gets better. Like in the case of my grandmother, she had cancer in October, November, December of a year, and then guess what happens in January? That clock resets. Your maximum out-of-pocket exposure on Medicare Advantage plan resets January 1 of the next year. So now you're exposed to all those costs again. And many Medicare Advantage salespeople will say, the maximum out-of-pocket is a great thing because it shields your liability to a ceiling. Well, that's partially true. It is a great thing because Medicare itself, if you don't have a supplement, Medicare itself has a ceiling of 20%, that's it. You pay 20% all the time. There is no cutoff. So Medicare Advantage, yes, there's a cutoff of $3,400 or $6,700. You have to look in the summary of benefits very carefully to see what your maximum out-of-pocket is. But again, that's only if you play by their rules and go inside their network on their HMO plans. Any step out of the network and they usually pay absolutely nothing. So even on the PPO plans where you can go inside or outside, you need to look very carefully at what happens. There may be even a different out-of-pocket maximum for outside of the network as opposed to inside. And certainly the costs are going to be higher. Co-payments, percentage, things covered, all that kind of thing on Medicare Advantage going outside the network, and that's only on the PPO. On a Medicare Advantage HMO, which is about 70 or 80% of the plans that are out there, you're going to see no benefit whatsoever if you go outside the network. So you want to go to your favorite hospital, but it's no longer in network, guess what? You could be exposed to 100% of the cost. You can't go back and lean on Medicare because Medicare has abdicated their responsibility the minute you signed up for an Advantage plan. Medicare says, oh no, you're the insurance company's problem. You can't fall back on original Medicare and say, I'll just go outside the network of my HMO now and I'll use my red, white, and blue Medicare card. It's no good to you once you're on that contract of the Medicare Advantage plan. So, in recap, seniors are getting taken advantage of, in my humble, ever so humble opinion, and I hate saying it when they call in because they're stuck in many cases, because under 65, they were on a plan, let's say Red Cross, Red Shield, and they're on a plan and they also have a Medicare Advantage plan, and what the senior doesn't understand is they're being seamlessly converted and put on a Medicare Advantage plan, many times without their knowledge except for a notification that they got in the mail. That's unacceptable. It's not full disclosure, in my humble opinion. The second way they're being taken advantage of is the phone calls to them, which are normally not acceptable and not even legal, to call them to solicit a Medicare Advantage plan, except for the fact that they've already signed up for your Part D standalone drug plan. So you've got them for the drug plan. Oh, now it's my customer. I can call them legally and bypass the marketing laws that protect seniors from being unsolicited called for Medicare Advantage. And now they can say, oh, you're paying $20 a month. I got something better for you. We'll get you a no-cost Medicare Advantage plan that includes dental, usually a free cleaning, woo, and silver sneakers for no charge whatsoever. As long as you pay attention to the details, we'll send you the mail, small print. Don't worry about it until you need it. And like I've always said, for the last however many years that's been out there, 15, 20 years, Medicare Advantage plans are terrific. They're great. And if Medicare Advantage plans were for people in their 40s like me, it would be phenomenal. I'll go jump through the hoops. I'll go to your doctor. I'll go to your hospital. I don't care. I'm healthy. When you're a senior and your warranty starts breaking down on your knees and your heart and the things that you got to get fixed on a regular basis and possibly see specialists and all that kind of stuff, that's not, in my humble opinion, the best time to be getting the cheapest possible version of capitated monthly health care paid for by the government. That's the time to get access to any doctor, any hospital, any specialist treatment facility, anybody in the country that accepts Medicare, and that's only found through the purchase of a solid Medicare supplement plan. That's why my agency only does Medicare supplement plans. We can refer out for Medicare Advantage if you insist, but typically as seniors are getting older, things start breaking down. That's when you've got to have the good quality access to health care of the best facilities across the country. And prices for Medicare supplements range anywhere from $70 to $200 per month, depending on where you are in the country. But can you afford that? Well, let me ask you, can you afford an unexpected payment of $5,000 or $6,000 or $6,700 only to be exposed to it again in January? They want that money now. And that's for the benefit of staying inside a restrictive network and doing what they say and getting referrals and following their course of treatment, which usually starts at the cheapest levels first, instead of the most effective, in some cases, treatments first. You and your doctor should probably be the ones that decide what the best course of treatment is, not an administrator, a bureaucrat at a company that pays doctors a set amount every month called capitation, no matter how many people they treat. So their incentive is to get people in and out, in and out, in and out, versus a doctor who gets paid fee for service from Medicare and the supplement pays the other 20%. And they can spend the time to find the right course of treatment to get you the best treatment first without skimping on, oh, we can't afford that test, it's not in their protocol. We can't send you for an MRI because we need to go through these levels of steps first because they're cheaper. And that's what our course of treatment through this HMO says we have to do. Look, whatever you can afford, that's great. We are here. My company is here. It solely exists to make sure you get the best value for your dollar. It's true, Medicare supplements are all the same. They're regulated by the government. They're mandated that they must be exactly the same. So a Plan G from one company, same as a Plan G from another company. The difference is how much you're going to pay for it, the strength and stability of customer service people standing behind it, and those are the things that experience brings to the table so that my staff and I can tell you, that's not really a good company. You probably shouldn't be looking at them right now. Why? We can tell you some stories because we deal with this every single day. So should you get the cheapest bottom line, save 5 pennies per month to get no-name brand number one? Not in every case, no. So sometimes you want to bump that up a couple dollars a month to get the big brand name that has millions of covered lives, that spreads that risk along millions of people instead of a very small, sometimes a single state or a small cluster of states, little company, a regional insurer, that if they get a massive claim, guess what? They have to pass that on to everybody in the form of higher rate increases in a shorter period of time. Sometimes these very small companies come in with what some people refer to as bait and switch. I refer to it as they're buying business because they have a smaller name. They need to get their brand out there, so they'll show up in the quote engine as the cheapest little company. And that's always not the best way to go. It's not always the best way to go. So anyway, if you'd like some free advice, a free second opinion, please call me. My office would be happy to help you with that. But again, if you hear of somebody getting taken advantage of through seamless conversion, or if you're on a standalone Part D drug plan and you get a phone call from that company saying, hey, come over to our free health plan, you need to think twice. You need to call your experienced agent who can put that in perspective for you and see if that looks like it's a good plan based on all the options in your market. I'm Chris Westfall. If I can help you with anything, drop me a line on my website. You can remain anonymous and we can write back to you by email. You can chat with us or you can call us on the phone. Your choice. I'm just here to help and look out for our clients. Have a great day. Bye-bye.